I have transformed into a humble attendant beside the Empress, each day indulging in a fervent internal monologue of criticism. That tyrant Su Qinghuang. She reviews edicts as though she is painting a tortoise. When assassins arrive, she charges forth herself. This new generation of bodyguards is truly arduous. Until one fateful day, when an assassination attempt occurred, and as I threw myself to shield her, I thought, her waist is so slender. It would be a pity if she perished. Suddenly, the Empress grasped my face and remarked, I too find it regrettable. Subsequently, when the enemy nation sent forth a breathtakingly handsome man, I internally screamed, Run! That is a spy! The Empress erupted into laughter, declaring, Take him away and behead him. He is far too ugly. After 3 years of severe drought, as the ministers knelt in desperation to beseech the heavens, I inwardly cursed, seeking rain is futile. We should dig channels to divert water. She cast aside her dragon robe and commanded, All of you, go dig channels for me. One night, inebriated, she pinned me down and said, Chanamo, your heart is so noisy that it keeps me awake. I was struck with terror, replying, Your Majesty, I must remain silent. She laughed with delightful abandon. I permit you to be noisy for a lifetime. Introduction. Su Qinghuang is the Empress of the Great Xia. The dragon throne is frigid, and the crown weighs heavily upon her head. She has become accustomed to solitude and suspicion, until that fateful night when she heard a voice belonging to her young attendant, reverberating in her mind like a thunderclap. From that moment on, the dignified Empress began to lose her composure, her smile gradually slipping away. 01 The night breeze carried the saccharine scent of withered flowers from the imperial garden, crashing into the Chonglu Palace. Candle flames flickered, casting shadows that illuminated Empress Su Qinghuang's downcast brow and eyes. She suspended her vermilion brush above the memorial, hesitating for an unending moment. I stood rigid in the shadow cast by a pillar, my gaze fixated on my nose, which seemed to be scrutinizing my innermost thoughts. Yet my heart bubbled like water boiling in a pot. Oh, stuck again. Is this memorial too hot to handle? Is it so difficult to write a single review? You've been dawdling for nearly an incense stick's worth of time. You know you are reviewing a memorial. If one were unaware, they might think Your Majesty was sketching a turtle. I dared not even blink, for the Empress's profile, illuminated by the flickering candlelight, was as sharply defined as if chiseled by a craftsman's hand. Her Majesty was profound and inscrutable. At last, the vermilion brush stirred. However, when the brush tip touched the paper, it did not engage in the task of reviewing. After a gentle twist of her wrist, she deftly sketched a small turtle in the blank space of the memorial. The lines were round and comical. My eyes nearly bulged out in disbelief. What the? Your Majesty, are you serious? Do you really drew a turtle? Is this considered a royal review? Wouldn't the Vice Minister of Rights be infuriated upon seeing this tomorrow? I struggled to maintain a composed expression, my facial muscles twitching involuntarily. The Empress gently set down her brush, tapping the still wet ink of the turtle with her fingertip. Did the corners of her mouth lift ever so slightly? It was so fleeting, like the flicker of a candleless flame. She raised her gaze, sweeping it across the grand hall. I immediately lowered my head, holding my breath. Her gaze was icy and scrutinizing, ultimately landing upon me. My heart seized in panic. What are you looking at? Your Majesty, please don't look at me. I don't have a turtle on my face. Oh no. Oh no. She hasn't discovered that I'm mocking her internally, has she? To serve a sovereign is akin to walking with a tiger. The ancients were not mistaken. Su Qinghuang's gaze lingered on my face for a fleeting moment. Her fingertips lightly tapped the armrest of the dragon throne. Top, top, top. Each sound resonated against my taut nerves. Chanamo. She spoke, her voice devoid of warmth. Your servant is here. I jolted, stepping forward. Stay where you are. She lifted her chin, indicating a position closer to the light within the hall. Brighter. Yes, complied, shifting my stance. What is this? Do you find the shadows behind the pillar too dark? Or do you think I appear like an assassin lurking in the shadows? Your Majesty's thoughts are indeed difficult to decipher. I halted at the new position, feeling the warmth of the light on my cheeks. Outside the hall, the sound of the night watch echoed long. The night deepened. Suddenly, whoosh, a sharp sound sliced through the stillness. Several points of cold light pierced the window paper, hurtling toward the imperial seat. The target was none other than the focused Su Qinghuang. Too fast. Assassin! My mind buzzed. and my body reacted quicker than my thoughts. Instinctively, I lunged toward the imperial seat. "Your Majesty, be careful," I shouted, colliding heavily with Su Qinghuang as I aimed to push her away from her position. Simultaneously, my peripheral vision caught sight of the cold light nearing my face. It was a poisoned crossbow bolt. "It's over." In a moment of crisis, Su Qinghuang moved. She did not even glance in my direction. With a flick of her wrist, the ornamental jade ruby on the table was in her grasp. Cling, cling, cling. The crisp sounds melded together. The jade ruby transformed into a blur, accurately deflecting every incoming poisoned arrow. The arrows scattered and fell. Her movements were fluid as a flowing stream, imbued with an indescribable elegance, as if she were merely brushing away a few specks of dust. And I, having lunged too forcefully, thudded onto the golden bricks at her feet. I fell flat on the ground, my face pressed against the cold tiles. Damn! Was that all for naught? Does she need my help with those skills? This job as a bodyguard is incredibly challenging. The assassin arrives, and the master takes charge herself? It makes me seem utterly redundant. "Your Majesty, if you're so capable, why didn't you say so earlier? My old back is in agony." I lay on the ground, momentarily dazed. Outside the hall, the sounds of the Golden Guard's stern shouts and the clash of weapons erupted. The assassin had been discovered. The chaotic sounds of battle echoed, yet the hall remained eerily silent. Su Qinghuang's gaze fell upon me, her eyes betraying a hint of subtle inquiry. I scrambled to rise. What an embarrassment! "Quick, get up. Your Majesty, please don't look at me like that. It sends chills down my spine. Oh no, I think I might have actually twisted my back. This tyrant is ruthless." However, my struggles faltered for a moment. When I lunged earlier, my arm had brushed against something soft, carrying a faint, icy fragrance. Did I just touch the Empress's waist? So slender, such a delicate waist. If that poisoned arrow had struck her, it would have been a great loss. This thought sprouted uncontrollably in my mind, growing wild like untamed weeds, completely oblivious to the peculiar shift in her gaze above me. Su Qinghuang regarded me, crouched at her feet in a most undignified position. She remained silent, the air thick with tension. The footsteps of the Golden Guard commander echoed urgently outside the hall. "Your Majesty, the assassins have all been dispatched." I heard the commander's voice abruptly cut off. He had caught sight of the bizarre scene within the hall. The Empress stood tall, while her young attendant lay prostrate. The atmosphere was indescribable. Su Qinghuang finally moved. Ignoring the commander outside, she slowly bent down, extending her hand. Her hand, pale and slender, bore the faint calluses of years spent wielding both pen and sword. With precision, her fingers grasped my chin, applying a gentle yet unyielding pressure that compelled me to raise my dust-covered face, forcing me to meet her gaze. In the flickering candlelight, her beauty was breathtaking yet chilling. Those phoenix eyes were unfathomable, clearly reflecting my wide, terrified pupils. She leaned in closer, her warm breath almost grazing my nose. Her crimson lips parted, uttering a sentence that, though softly spoken, resonated like thunder in my ears. I too find it a pity. Her fingertips brushed against my chin lightly. In her gaze, an exceedingly rare flicker of teasing mirth danced. It would indeed be a pity. 0 my chin remained ensnared in the Empress's grasp. The coldness and the sensation of callous skin akin to a serpent's tongue. That phrase, "it would indeed be a pity," echoed wildly in my mind, sending me into a dizzying spiral. Does she know? How could she possibly know? I didn't voice it aloud. This is madness. Absolute madness. It's over, it's over, it's over. Defaming the sovereign, especially face-to-face, is enough to warrant 100 beheadings. Your Majesty, please allow me to defend myself. I offer no explanations. My blood surged to my head, only to drain away in an instant. My complexion likely resembled that of freshly painted chalk. My body stiffened like a block of stone. Su Qinghuang released her hold. The lingering warmth of her fingertips sent a shiver down my spine. She straightened, towering over me. The playful smile that had graced her face vanished without a trace, replaced by an inscrutable calmness. It seemed as if the astounding words uttered just moments ago were merely a figment of my imagination. Get up. Her voice was devoid of emotion. Thank you, Your Majesty. My voice trembled as I scrambled to my feet, my knees still quaking. The commander of the Imperial Guards remained kneeling at the palace entrance, his head bowed low, not daring to draw a breath. Drag them away, investigate. Su Qinghuang uttered just 3 words, her gaze not even flickering towards the outside. As you command. The commander, as if granted a reprieve, immediately waved his hand. Several guards swiftly entered, deftly removing the poisoned arrows and the assassin's corpse from the ground. The hall was soon restored to its former state, save for the lingering faint scent of blood in the air and the drumming of my heart. Investigate the assassin? Shouldn't I be the one being investigated, Your Majesty? Those treasonous thoughts swirling in my mind. Just how much did you hear? Spare me the agony. Su Qinghuang returned to her dragon chair. She ceased to peruse the memorials and did not cast a glance in my direction. Her fingertips rhythmically tapped on the newly drawn, ink-dried image of a small turtle on the table. Top, top, top. Each sound resonated like a hammer striking at my heart. An oppressive silence enveloped the space. Protracted stillness. Agonizing. I lowered my head, yearning to shrink into the cracks of the floor tiles. It's over, the reckoning will come. The tyrant is contemplating how to execute me, no doubt. Lingqi, scaphism, or perhaps dismemberment. Can I at least request to have my body intact? Mother and father, your son has been unfilial. Just as I was frantically drafting my own epitaph in my mind, Su Qinghuang finally spoke again. Chen Montak, your servant is here. I trembled. Regarding today's events, her tone betraying no emotion, you have performed well in guarding me. Huh? I shot my gaze up, incredulous. Performing well in guarding. Did I not just stumble and fall flat on my face? Your Majesty, are you perhaps muddled with rage? Or is this a jest? Offering a sweet date before delivering a blow. The corners of Su Qinghuang's mouth twitched imperceptibly. She lifted the nearby teacup and took a sip. What reward do you desire? She set down the teacup, her gaze apathetically resting upon me. A reward? Nu. I seek not rewards. To receive rewards without merit is to invite death. I merely wish to live a stable life. I fell to my knees again. Your Majesty, may you be blessed abundantly, with divine protection. I instinctively reacted, unwilling to take credit. To serve your Majesty is already a tremendous fortune. I dare not crave for a reward. My head knocked upon the ground with a resounding thud. As long as you forget those thoughts in my mind, I would even be willing to forfeit my salary. I beg you. Su Qinghuang remained silent, her fingers still tapping that small turtle. After a considerable time, she emitted a singular sound from her nostrils. Leave. Yes. Thank you, Your Majesty. I felt as if I had been granted a reprieve, hastily rising and bowing as I retreated. My back was drenched in cold sweat. Just as I neared the palace door, her voice rang out again, not loud but distinctly clear. Tomorrow, during duty, stand closer to me. My steps came to an abrupt halt. Closer. Even closer. Today, being too close nearly cost a life. What exactly do you wish to accomplish? Your Majesty, do you wish for my demise? Or do you still wish to hear those chaotic thoughts in my mind? I dared not look back. My throat dry. Your servant obeys. My voice trembled uncontrollably. In a frantic manner, I scrambled out of the Chonglu Palace, the chilly night breeze brushing against my sweat-soaked back, sending shivers down my spine. Leaning against the frigid palace wall, I gasped for breath, my heart still racing. To accompany the sovereign is akin to walking with a tiger. The ancients spoke true. This life is unbearable. The following day, the sun blazed with an intensity that was almost unbearable. Gritting my teeth, I mustered the courage to step into the somber atmosphere of the Xianzheng Hall. The court was filled with officials, standing solemnly on either side. The air was thick with suppressed breaths. The Empress, Su Qinghuang, sat regally upon her ornate dragon throne, the jeweled crown obscuring much of her expression, revealing only her taut jawline. The atmosphere was so heavy it felt as though one could wring water from it. I took my place according to the decree received the previous night, standing closer to the throne by at least 5 paces than usual. From this position, I could observe even the slightest movement of her crown jewels. A perilous position. Even breathing feels like a sin. It seems the Empress is in a particularly foul mood today. Who has dared to provoke this tyrant? The Minister of War, an elderly official with graying hair, trembled as he stepped forward, holding a blood-stained piece of cloth. Your Majesty! His voice was filled with indignation. The northern borders are in dire straits. The Di Rong have once again breached our defenses. They have taken 3 of our border towns. General Zhang Meng has laid down his life for the nation. He raised the blood-soaked cloth high. Tears streamed down his face. In an instant, the hall was filled with the sound of stifled sobs. The Di Rong have returned. Those wretched wolves. Alas, brave General Zhang Meng, what a loss. A blood letter? What does it say? I could not help but stretch my neck to sneak a glance. Su Qinghuang's voice descended from above, as frigid as ice. Read it. A court eunuch dashed forward, took the blood letter, and unfolded it. His voice trembled as he read aloud, tinged with sorrow. I, Zhang Meng, bow in tears. The northern frontier is in peril. The Di Rong are ruthless, their iron hooves ravaging like locusts. The border towns have fallen, and the people weep in blood. I have fought valiantly, bearing over 10 wounds, fearing I shall not see the heavens again. I only regret not being able to slay more of the enemy. My death is insignificant. I implore your majesty to swiftly send forth the heavenly soldiers, annihilate the Di Rong, restore our lands. Otherwise, the eunuch's voice choked, unable to continue. At the letter's conclusion were several powerful strokes, nearly tearing through the fabric. Otherwise, the gates of our nation are in peril. The state is at risk. The final word dragged on, leaving a long, desperate trail of blood. Silence enveloped the hall. One could hear a pin drop. A heavy sense of grief and panic permeated the air. Several elder officials had already covered their faces with their sleeves, weeping softly. Su Qinghuang's hand, resting on the armrest of her throne, slowly clenched into a fist, her knuckles turning pale. Behind the jewels of her crown, her gaze was sharp as an ice pick, sweeping across the assembled officials. Ministers, she began, her voice low yet suffocating. The northern borders are in such disarray. Who can go forth? Who can assist me in vanquishing the Di Rong? Her voice echoed throughout the vast hall. No one dared respond. A deathly silence prevailed. Among the ranks of military generals, those who usually boasted the loudest voices now bowed their heads deeply, wishing to shrink into their court attire. Have they lost their courage? In times of power struggles, they were fierce as beasts. Yet now, when faced with bloodshed, they have turned into quails. The blood of General Zhang Meng was shed in vain? These useless fools. A surge of anger ignited within me. Su Qinghuang's eyes seemed to inadvertently land on my position. Why are you looking at me? I am not a warrior, but... I fixated on the blood-stained cloth. An idea unbidden sprang to mind. The Di Rong strategy. It appears aggressive, having breached 3 towns. But upon reflection, they are merely minor border towns, easy to assault yet difficult to defend. It seems the main force of General Zhang's troops remains unscathed. Where could the main force of the Di Rong be? Could it be a diversion, creating such a ruckus in the northern borders, to lure our main forces away, while their true target is the defenseless granaries in the western front? As this thought took root, I was drenched in a cold sweat. By the heavens, it is entirely plausible. These wretched wolves are playing dirty. If the western granaries are seized, what will our frontline troops eat? The entire northern defense line will collapse. I must sound the alarm. I abruptly raised my head, nearly blurting out my thoughts. As I inadvertently locked eyes with Yu Zhu, I found myself gazing into the unfathomable depths of Su Qinghuang's eyes. She was observing me with an expression of extraordinary complexity. Shock, sharpness, and a hint of suppressed understanding. My heart abruptly halted. It's over. I've forgotten again. She can hear me. What a foolish mind I possess. Surely, Her Majesty does not believe I am attempting to incite chaos? This time, I am truly doomed. I hastily lowered my head, wishing I could strike myself twice in frustration. Yet, Su Qinghuang shifted her gaze, returning her attention to the silent assembly of civil and military officials. Gradually, she released her tightly clenched fists, her fingertips gently tapping the armrest. Tap, 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 the rhythm was steady. It seemed her voice broke the silence, laced with a touch of icy sarcasm. My esteemed generals, does none of you dare to engage in battle? The head of the military ranks bowed even lower. The Minister of War, tears streaming down his face, implored, Your Majesty, it is not that the soldiers fear death. Rather, the movements of the Di Rong are enigmatic. Their main force's direction remains unclear. We fear that hastily deploying troops may be a ruse. Oh! The old minister possesses some insight. He has discerned the oddities. However, it appears he has yet to consider the Western Front. He has only identified the ruse but has not grasped its full implications? This is infuriating, I mentally scoffed. Su Qinghuang's fingers quickened their rhythm on the armrest, barely perceptible. After a moment of silence, she elongated her voice, causing the hearts of all present to leap into their throats. Proclaim my edict. Summon the Marquis of Jinbei Yuan Lai to lead his elite force of 50,000 and march immediately to the northern borders. We must ensure that the Dirong are kept outside our gates and reclaim our lost territories. There must be no errors. As soon as the decree was issued, a burly general with a bushy beard stepped forward. It was indeed Yuan Lai, the Marquis of Jinbei. His voice boomed like thunder. Your servant. I accept the edict. I shall not return until the Dirong are vanquished. His declaration resonated throughout the hall. Marquis Jinbei? Yuan Lai? Can he manage it? He is indeed a formidable warrior, quite ferocious. Yet, he is far too reckless. A quintessential hothead. A single spark ignites him. If the Dirong truly employ a ruse, and divert him to the north to gnaw on bones, who will guard the western front? Your Majesty, please consider this carefully. My heart raced with anxiety. However, Su Qinghuang seemed oblivious to my unvoiced concerns. She regarded Yuan Lai with a slightly softened tone. General Yuan, your loyalty and valor are commendable, and I am greatly reassured. The Ministry of War must ensure the supply of provisions and reinforcements without delay. The Minister of War promptly bowed. Your servant obeys the command. As the court adjourned, Su Qinghuang rose. The ceremonial crown and jade beads swayed, obscuring her expression. We bid farewell to your Majesty. The officials chorused in reverence. I followed the attendants, mimicking their steps as we departed from the Hall of Governance alongside the Empress. Just as we entered the corridor of the rear palace, the Empress, striding with the grace of a dragon, suddenly paused. She sharply raised her hand to steady herself against a nearby vermilion pillar, her shoulders trembling slightly. Your Majesty? A close attendant gasped, rushing forward. Su Qinghuang raised her other hand, signaling her to maintain distance. She bowed her head, her shoulders shaking more violently, as if she were desperately suppressing something. What is wrong? Is she overwhelmed with anger? Or perhaps she was too restrained earlier, injuring herself? I said she shouldn't hold back. See, it's caused her distress. Even a tyrant is human. I mused silently. Su Qinghuang leaned against the pillar, taking a deep breath. Then, slowly, she raised her head. There was no pain, no fury, only an exceedingly peculiar expression. The corners of her mouth strained upwards, resembling a smile, yet also a struggle to contain laughter. Her eyes even glistened slightly. She glanced at me, those eyes radiating an astonishing brightness, imbued with an inexplicable, immense joy and excitement. Chenemo. At your service, I responded promptly. Accompany me to the study. Her voice wavered slightly, tinged with a suppressed tremor. Yes. My heart brimmed with suspicion as I followed her. To the study? Is she planning to reprimand me again? Earlier in the court, I had no shortage of harsh thoughts, especially about that reckless Yuan Lai. She must have heard me. Su Qinghuang walked briskly, her steps almost light-hearted. Upon reaching the study's entrance, she dismissed all attendants and palace maids, leaving only me. The heavy palace doors closed behind us, isolating us from the outside world. Su Qinghuang strode directly to the enormous map before her, depicting the territories of the Great Xia and neighboring nations. With her back to me, her shoulders began to tremble again. Then, unexpectedly, a clear, uncontainable laugh erupted in the spacious study, akin to a taut string suddenly snapping. A chill ran down my spine. She laughed. Her Majesty actually laughed. At such a time, the Northern Front is in crisis. Zhang Meng has sacrificed himself for the nation, and she laughs? Is she insane? Or has my words driven her mad? I stared at her back in terror. Su Qinghuang abruptly turned around. The laughter was gone, replaced by a chilling countenance. Her gaze was sharp as a blade, piercing directly through me. Chunemo, at your service. My legs weakened. In the court, as she approached step by step, each footfall felt like a weight upon my heart. You claimed Yuan Lai is reckless? This is it. The reckoning has arrived. I fell to my knees. Your Majesty, please quell your anger. I spoke in haste. I deserve death 1,000 times over. I knew it. She heard me. Indeed, she heard me. Yuan Lai is Her Majesty's trusted general. To call him reckless is tantamount to courting death. Su Qinghuang loomed over me, her presence commanding. Hasty words? Her voice was laced with coldness. In your opinion, is Yuan Lai merely a fool with brute strength? Unfit for great responsibility? The final was laced with an oppressive intensity. What can I possibly say? To speak the truth? That would be suicidal. To fabricate lies? She can hear them. Either way, I am doomed. I steeled myself, resolved to take the plunge. Your Majesty, please see clearly. I blurted out. I braced myself. General Yuan is unparalleled in bravery, unmatched in loyalty. He is truly a pillar of the nation. My words flowed passionately, yet internally I wailed. He is indeed brave, but he is recklessly so, Your Majesty. Sending him to the northern front to confront the enemy is one matter. But what if the Rong employ deceit, diverting their main forces to ambush the western granaries? Can he comprehend such a tactic? Who is the commander of the western front again? Wasn't he a fool, relying on his ancestors' favor? It's over. The granaries are doomed. My heart sank into despair. Su Qinghuang's gaze remained fixed upon me, scrutinizing for what felt like an eternity. Just when I thought she would command my execution, she spoke again, her voice calm and devoid of emotion. Issue a secret decree. Urgently dispatch it 800 li to the Western Governor's office. I was momentarily stunned, lifting my gaze in confusion. She had turned away, approaching the imperial desk. With a brush in hand, she dipped it in ink, swiftly inscribing on the specially crafted yellow silk. Her writing was bold and fierce, exuding a chilling aura. Order Governor Zhou Xian of the Western Front to immediately place all station troops across the 3 states and 9 prefectures on the highest state of alert. The granary, a crucial stronghold, must have troop numbers tripled. Day and night patrols must be maintained, without exception. Should any Rong cavalry approach within 100 li, execute them on the spot without waiting for orders. Those who neglect their duties, delay military matters, or undermine morale. She paused, her pen striking down heavily. Shall be executed without mercy. Their entire families shall be eradicated. Upon completion, she grasped the petite golden seal beside her and pressed down with force. A sharp crack resonated in the stillness of the study, its sound particularly jarring. Quickly, she commanded, rolling the secret edict and inserting it into a specially crafted copper tube, sealing it with wax. She handed it to the dark guard captain who had been waiting outside. Yes, the captain's figure flickered and vanished without a trace. Only then did Su Qinghuang slowly return to her dragon throne. Leaning back against the chair, she exhaled deeply, as if shedding an immense burden. Peculiar, suppressed smile re-emerged on her face. She turned her gaze toward me, who remained kneeling on the ground, utterly dumbfounded. Her eyes sparkled with an astonishing brightness, imbued with a strange sense of satisfaction. Chen Montak, your servant is here. My voice wavered. You dragged out your tone today. My heart leapt into my throat. You stood well, she remarked, unable to contain herself any longer. She lifted the wide sleeve of her dragon robe to cover her mouth, her shoulders shaking violently as muffled laughter escaped from behind her sleeve. The sound echoed hauntingly through the desolate imperial study. I knelt on the cold floor, completely stunned. Stood well? Is this it? Has your Majesty truly lost her mind? The flames of war in the northern frontier had not yet extinguished. The atmosphere in the court remained tense. Empress Su Qinghuang sat upon the dragon throne, her expression as cold as ice. After attending to urgent military affairs, the Minister of Rights trembled as he stepped forward. Your Majesty, the envoy from the Nanzhao Kingdom has arrived at the inn. Their prince is present, and he brings with him unparalleled treasures. He stammered, his old face flushing. What treasures? Su Qinghuang's voice was frigid. And the most handsome man of their nation, Lord Luochun, to serve your Majesty. The minister's words grew fainter, and a profound silence enveloped the hall. The sound of a pin dropping could be heard. All the ministers furtively raised their eyes to glance at the throne. What is this? A beauty ploy? Is the Nanzhao Kingdom out of its mind? Sending a man to the tyrant? Do they seek death? I internally scoffed. Su Qinghuang remained silent, her fingers tapping lightly on the armrest of the dragon throne. Proclaim. She uttered a singular word. Soon, the hall doors swung wide open, and the Nanzhao envoy entered in succession. The leader, adorned in a brocade robe with a jade belt, exuded an air of grace. It was the Prince of Nanzhao. Following him was a man in white, tall and strikingly handsome, almost eerily so, with enchanting peach blossom eyes that sparkled with brilliance, instantly capturing the attention of everyone in the grand hall. Wow, he's incredibly handsome. Is that face even real? I couldn't help but steal a few more glances. The Nanzhao prince bowed respectfully. Prince Duanyu of Nanzhao greets the Empress of Daxia. He presented the treasures of his nation and the esteemed Lord Luochen, hoping for the Empress's favor. He clapped his hands, and servants brought forth several heavy treasure chests, glimmering with jewels and dazzling the eye. Lord Luochen stepped forward, slightly bowing. His voice rang clear, imbued with an unusual rhythm. Luochen, at your service, your majesty. He raised his eyes, fixing his gaze directly upon Su Qinghuang on the throne, his eyes shimmering with deep affection. Goodness, that gaze. He would surely be an award-winning actor in modern times. Surely, the Empress cannot be truly enchanted? After all, he is stunning beyond measure. I felt a twinge of anxiety. Su Qinghuang's eyes briefly scanned the treasures before finally resting on Luo Chen's face, revealing no hint of emotion. The prince has good intentions, she remarked flatly. Prince Duanyu's face brightened, and Luo Chen's lips curled into a barely perceptible smile. Is it done? Does the tyrant truly have a weakness for handsome men? No way. Wait, something's off about Luo Chen. Why is his right pinky finger slightly curled? That posture is too familiar. It resembles the signal taught by the Dark Guard camp. Goodness, a spy. He is undoubtedly a spy. Your Majesty, run. It's dangerous. My inner alarm bells rang loudly, and I screamed internally, yearning to leap forward immediately. Su Qinghuang remained composed, even lifting her teacup and leisurely taking a sip before placing it down. Her gaze once again fell upon Luo Chen's captivating face, scrutinizing him from head to toe, which made his smile grow more confident. Then, the Empress's red lips parted, clearly uttering 3 words. Too ugly. I nearly choked on my own saliva. What? Too ugly? Your Majesty, are you serious? Is your aesthetic adorned with diamonds? The entire court, alongside Prince Duanyu of Nanzhao, was left in a state of utter shock, convinced their ears had deceived them. The confident smile on Luo Chen's face instantly froze, cracking and twisting grotesquely. Su Qinghuang seemed oblivious to it. She waved her hand dismissively, as if brushing away a speck of dust, her tone as casual as if discussing the weather. Take him away. Execute him. Unpleasing to the eye. Boom! The entire Xianjing hall erupted. Prince Duanyu turned pale. Your Majesty, what did you just say? Lord Luochen is the most handsome man in our Nanzhao. You! Su Qinghuang didn't even lift her eyelids. The most handsome man? Is that so? She scoffed lightly. Is this all you have from Nanzhao? Her gaze swept over Duanyu's horrified face. Is there no one else? Take him away. The Jinwu guards pounced like wolves, seizing the dazed Luo Chen. No, Your Majesty, spare me. Luo Chen finally reacted, screaming in terror. Prince, save me. Duanyu trembled all over, struggling to find words. Yet, meeting Su Qinghuang's icy glare, he couldn't utter a single syllable, only able to watch helplessly as Luo Chen was dragged from the hall. His cries abruptly silenced. Outside the hall, a dull thud echoed. Inside, silence reigned. The sound of a pin dropping could be heard. All the ministers were as still as statues. The Nanzhao envoy appeared pale as death. Su Qinghuang lazily reclined back against her dragon throne. Prince, Duanyu jolted upright. Your Majesty, return and inform your father, the king. Su Qinghuang's voice was soft yet carried a chilling undertone. If you wish to present gifts, make them substantial: provisions, weaponry, steeds. I shan't complain of excess. Send no more of this. She paused, her red lips curving into a cold smirk. Frivolous waste. Bring one forward, and I shall execute it. Is that understood? Duanyu dropped to his knees, drenched in sweat. I understand clearly. Your Majesty, begone. Yes. Thank you, Your Majesty. Duanyu scrambled away, retreating with his envoy in a state of panic. The hall fell silent once more. Su Qinghuang's gaze slowly swept over my position, and her lips seemed to curve ever so slightly upward, almost imperceptibly, as if it were an illusion. Your Majesty, your reasons for executing someone are truly refreshingly unique. But well executed. Spies deserve death. What a pity about that face. My heart was in turmoil. Suddenly, Su Qinghuang spoke up. Chenemo, your servant is here. I jolted. Do you believe, her voice carried a hint of playfulness, that I acted correctly in my execution? This question of life and death, How do I respond? My scalp tingled. Your Majesty is wise and mighty, perceptive to the core. Those with ulterior motives deserve to die. I hastily flattered her, though my mind whispered, true, it is true. But you said he was ugly. Isn't that a tad insulting? Although he is indeed a spy.
Su Vinquang lightly ehalet, her tone elongated.
Do you think he is unattractive? She leaned slightly forward, her gaze scrutinizing my face. Here we go again. Your Majesty, please spare me. How am I supposed to respond to that? To say he is not ugly? You just executed someone. To say he is ugly? My conscience aches. I was drenched in cold sweat, feeling flustered. Yet, Su Qinghuang suddenly laughed. Not a mocking laugh, but a genuine expression of amusement, her shoulders trembling slightly. Enough. She waved her hand, stand your post. In your mind. She paused, casting a sidelong glance at me. Think less of these nonsensical matters. As expected, she can hear me. Even my lament over that face reached her ears. This is disastrous. Accompanying the ruler is akin to walking with a tiger. The ancients truly did not deceive me. The war in the northern frontier was at a standstill. General Yuan Lai, valiant and fierce, had held off the main forces of the Derong. Yet bad news continued to cascade in. A severe drought, a relentless drought lasting 3 years, had escalated alarmingly. The land lay barren for 1,000 miles, rivers ran dry, and farmlands cracked open. Rumors of starving corpses circulated relentlessly within the palace. The atmosphere in the court was stifling, almost suffocating. The head of the Astronomical Bureau, an elderly man with white hair and beard, trembled as he stepped forward. Your Majesty! His voice was filled with sorrow. The heavens have sent down this drought. It is a divine punishment, all because of your ascension to the throne. He dared not continue, collapsing to his knees. I humbly beseech your Majesty to issue a self-punishing edict, and personally ascend to the altar, burn incense, and pray to the heavens, to beseech for the sweet rain, to comfort the heavens, to bring peace to the people. His head bowed heavily, causing a bruise to form on his forehead. We, your ministers, second this. We implore your Majesty to issue a self-punishing edict. Pray to the heavens for rain. A wave of civil officials knelt en masse, all wearing sorrowful expressions, as if the sky were collapsing. The military officials exchanged glances, no one daring to speak. A self-punishing edict? Praying to the heavens for rain? What nonsense! If the heavens do not rain, how is that the fault of your Majesty? These old stubborn fools. All they know is to engage in these pointless rituals. With this time, they might as well think of how to divert water. I raged silently within. Su Qinghuang sat regally upon the dragon throne, her crown obscuring her face. Her expression remained unreadable. Yet, the fingers resting on the armrest were turning white from the tension of suppressing her fury. A self-punishing edict? Her voice was icy. What sin have I committed? The head of the Astronomical Bureau raised his head, tears streaming down his face. Your Majesty, the heavens are signaling alarm. The people are in panic. If it does not rain soon, a great upheaval may ensue. The state is in peril. Your Majesty, for the sake of the realm, for the welfare of the common people, please issue an edict to pray to the heavens. He bowed heavily once more, blood seeping from his forehead. Please, your Majesty, issue an edict to pray to the heavens. The ministers cried out in unison, their voices echoing throughout the hall. What use is praying to the heavens? If it can bring rain, I will write my name backward. 3 years of drought is a climatic issue. Relying solely on praying to the heavens? It would be wiser to save that incense money and organize manpower, to dig canals, to divert the waters from the southern rivers. Though it is a grand undertaking, this is the long-term solution, far better than kneeling to pray to the heavens. These fools, my anger boiled within me. Su Qingguang remained silent, enveloped in a deathly stillness, with only the suppressed breaths of the ministers audible. After a long while, long enough for everyone to believe the Empress was on the brink of fury, she slowly rose. The crown swayed gently. Very well, she uttered a single word, void of any discernible emotion. The ministers were taken aback, then erupted in joy. Your Majesty is wise. Your Majesty is indeed wise. The head of the Astronomical Bureau trembled with excitement. Your Majesty's benevolence. It moves the heavens. Rain shall surely fall. What? Your Majesty, do you truly believe it? You are going to pray for rain? No way. You are so brilliant and mighty. How can you believe in this? I internally wailed, utterly disappointed. Su Qinghuang raised her hand, signaling for silence. Since you all believe, her voice was calm, that praying for rain is of utmost urgency. Then very well. She abruptly shifted her tone. Let it be decreed. From this day forth, all officials of the Great Xia of 5th rank and above, regardless of civil or military, each one of you, she violently tossed aside the wide sleeves of her dragon robe, pointing towards the palace gates as if directing towards the unseen, parched lands. Her voice suddenly escalated, imbued with an undeniable thunderous authority. Take up your hoes. Go and dig canals. The final 2 words echoed like thunder, resounding in the deathly silent hall of Shenzhen, causing all the kneeling ministers to collectively freeze, wide-eyed and agape. The ecstatic expression on the head of the Astronomical Bureau instantly transformed into disbelief. Your Majesty, what did you say?
Die canals?
He thought he had misheard. Su Qinghuang coldly gazed down at him. Are your ears deaf? I said dig canals. Divert the waters of the southern rivers. Alleviate the drought of the northern lands. Do you understand? Her penetrating gaze swept over all the ministers, who were left dumbfounded. Praying for rain? I have granted that too. Head of the Astronomical Bureau. You, take your men, go to the altar, pray earnestly for me. If rain does not come, her voice turned chilling. You all shall kneel there until you perish. Now, get out, dig canals. Anyone who slacks off. She paused, exhaling 2 words, shall be executed. Boom! The ministers were utterly bewildered, scrambling to exit the palace in a daze, their faces still reflecting extreme shock and confusion. The grand hall was instantly empty, leaving only Su Qinghuang and me. She slowly returned to her dragon throne, appearing somewhat fatigued. Raising her hand, she rubbed her brow.
Die canals?
Your Majesty, you are too magnificent. Ah, this is exactly how it should be. Better to dig canals than to pray for rain. Practical action builds a nation. Your Majesty is wise. Long live your Majesty. I internally screamed in excitement, nearly jumping out of my skin. Su Qinghuang lowered her hand, her gaze softly resting upon me, her lips curling into that familiar, suppressed smile.
Chen Montag.
At your service, I replied with a resonant voice. Are you very excited? She raised an eyebrow. Of course. How could I not be excited? Your operation is simply divine. I quickly composed my expression. I am overjoyed by your Majesty's brilliant decision. I am thrilled for the fortune of the people. Su Qinghuang let out a soft snort. Flattery.
Come closer.
Prepare ink for me. Yes. I hurriedly stepped forward, my heart racing. Your Majesty, have you heard again? I stole a glance at her. She had already spread out a new memorial, the red brush hovering above it, her profile caught in the play of light and shadow, the lines appearing to soften ever so slightly. In the imperial study, illuminated brightly, Su Qinghuang continued to review the memorials, which piled up like mountains. Weariness was etched across her brow. I stood quietly beside her, grinding ink. It's already the 3rd watch. Are you not going to sleep? Even iron would wear down under such strain. This tyrant works too hard. The memorials will never be finished. Your health is your true wealth. Sigh. I sighed inwardly. Su Qinghuang set down her red brush. Rubbing her throbbing temples, she murmured, wine. At once, her personal attendant presented a white jade wine flask and a delicate cup. She poured for herself, drinking cup after cup with a swift motion, driven by an irritable need for release. Stop drinking. Consuming strong liquor on an empty stomach is harmful to the stomach. You'll have a headache tomorrow. How to persuade. Being close to the emperor is akin to being near a tiger. My heart raced with anxiety, yet I dared not speak, only able to watch helplessly. Soon, the flask was empty. A charming flush graced Su Qinghuang's fair visage, and her gaze began to waver, losing the usual sharpness and chill. She rested her forehead on her hand, her fingers unconsciously tracing circles on the memorials. Chan Mo, she suddenly called, her voice husky and languid from inebriation. I am here. I responded hastily. She lifted her head, her intoxicated eyes gazing at me. Come here. Yes. I cautiously stepped forward, only for her to suddenly extend her hand and seize my wrist with considerable force, her touch burning. Exclamation point. I was startled. Your Majesty? She yanked me forward without warning. I stumbled, colliding against the broad imperial desk, causing memorials to scatter across the floor, ink splattering everywhere. Your Majesty, I am doomed. Panic-stricken, I attempted to rise, but Su Qinghuang leaned down, enveloping me with the potent scent of alcohol and an unprecedented sense of oppression. She braced herself against the edge of the desk, trapping me between her and the cold surface. Her breathtakingly beautiful, intoxicated face loomed close enough for me to discern the flutter of her long eyelashes and feel her warm breath brush against my cheek, a tantalizing tickle. My heart raced to its utmost limit. Blood surged to my head.
I am doomed.
Your Majesty, you are drunk. Please wake up.
I am Chen Montag.
Your little attendant. Not your concubine. This is disastrous. A historical injustice. Overwhelmed with fear, I desperately tried to shrink away, my back pressed against the icy desk, retreating to no avail. Su Qinghuang's dazed phoenix eyes fixed on me, searching deeply, revealing a complexity of emotions. Curiosity, confusion, and perhaps a profound weariness and dependence? She suddenly spoke softly, imbued with intoxication and a barely perceptible hint of grievance.
Chen Montag.
Your heart. She reached out, her cool fingertip unexpectedly pressing against my chest, through the thin fabric of my guard uniform. So noisy. Her fingertip seemed to sense the frantic beating of my heart. Thump, thump, so loud it disturbs me. She furrowed her delicate brows as if complaining, unable to sleep. Boom! My mind erupted like 1,000 fireworks. A blank void. She heard it. She truly can hear it. She has always been able to hear it. All those complaints, all those murmurs. She knows everything. A wave of terror seized me, more terrifying than any assassination attempt. The fear of secrets being unveiled left me icy cold. Your Majesty, my voice trembled uncontrollably. I am doomed. I shall be silent. I shall leave. I will never disturb your Majesty. With all my might, I attempted to push her away, to escape this perilous predicament. Yet Su Qinghuang remained unyielding. She observed the panic-stricken expression on my face, my pale lips, and the dilated pupils caused by sheer fear. Suddenly, she laughed. Not a cold laugh, nor a mocking one, but a genuine, unburdened, joyous laughter. It was as if a glacier had melted, as if spring had returned to the earth. Her eyes curved, her crimson lips forming a radiant arc, revealing pearly white teeth. The laughter was clear and melodic, infused with the languor of intoxication and an indescribable sense of exhilaration. She laughed so heartily that her entire frame trembled, her weight pressing down on me, rendering me breathless. The tassels from her headdress brushed against my cheek, a delightful tickle. Be silent? After a great effort, she stifled her laughter, her gaze shimmering with intoxicating allure and rich teasing. Leaning closer, she brought her warm, wine-scented breath near my sensitive ear, whispering words that struck like a thunderclap, shattering all my fears and hopes. I grant you permission to chatter for a lifetime, little attendant. As her words fell, she seemed to expend all her energy, her head lolling to the side as she collapsed fully upon me, radiating warmth and the crisp scent of alcohol, drifting into a deep slumber. Her breathing grew steady. I lay rigid on the cold imperial desk, the most esteemed empress of the great Xia resting upon me. In my mind, her last words echoed repeatedly. Grant you permission to chatter for a lifetime. A lifetime. Outside the palace, the moonlight flowed like water, the night breeze was cool, and the sound of the dripping water clock ticked away, echoing my heartbeat. For a long time, I could not calm my racing heart. The end. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.